Hi there guys, just going to do a stage build of a slick 84-inch by Pilot-RC. I'm going to start off doing the wing. Basically, we've got a piece of lovely wing here, as you can see, and I'm going to show you guys how to put these control horns in. Pilot-RC provide you these control horns, as you can see. They come, basically what I've done is put them in place. You get these control horns, which they are independent control horns, and let me just go and get my sanding block, and I will be back with you just a tick and show you how to go about. Okay, we have a perma-grip sanding block. Basically what you do, you just key the surface up where the glue is going to go, round the edges here. Just rub it on the sanding block a few times. Just so it takes the shininess away. And as you can see, the shininess is gone, and I'll just pop this one. Hang on. In fact, take this off as well. And you put that on your sanding block, and you just rub it a few times, just to again take the shininess away. There, put that over here, and then the second one of these, take the shininess away. There you go. You can feel it usually that it's got the roughness to it. Then pop this back in place. Okay. Blowing all the dust off. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. So what we'll do, we will pop this into the wing like such, the whole thing into the wing. Press it down tight, then you use a modelling knife, hobbycraft knife, cut round the edges of the round here. So basically you're actually removing the covering off. I'll just show you guys here. Use a really sharp knife, cut round the edges, but just be careful you don't cut too much away. Once it's done, take this. Ooh. Yep. Once it's done, pop this control horn off, and then peel away the covering. You may need to just, there you go. So basically you get this effect. So the balsa wood is exposed, and that's what we want. And then get your iron that you prepared, just iron that back down, back in place, so it's basically sticking back in place. Okay guys, okay, what we'll do, we'll pop this back in place for the second time. Then we will use a small amount of masking tape up to against the edge of the template, right up against the template. So you basically stick that down. The thing is, with Pilot RC, they don't actually give you any kind of building instructions. So you've got to have some kind of small knowledge of how to build. They don't have, when you get the kit, they don't actually come with a building manual, instructions, etc. So it's just, you know, building. You have to build it with your own experience. So, I mean, what I'm doing here is, although it's just a trick of the trade really, after you've masked it round as such, then you just simply pull this back off, and you've got this, as you can see. Okay, all masked round. Then what I'm going to do is to mix some epoxy. Always mix enough epoxy. The last thing you want is halfway through the job, you run out of epoxy. Okay, I'm going to do a quick mix here. It's just a piece of card. I'm going to mix it up. I'm using a 20 minutes epoxy. For those of you who is not so dab-handed, let's say, for those of you who has not got a lot of experience of working with epoxy and mixing, and I will strongly advise you use something that is a little bit longer to set, something like maybe 30 minutes to an hour. Okay, as you can see, what I'm going to do, the reason why I use a card is easier to work with. You basically run the epoxy through the gap. Okay, the reason why I'm using a really thin, fine screwdriver is to help the epoxy to run down. Once you've kind of like get a little bit in through the gap, it's pretty easy for the epoxy to run down. And you will need to put a bit of epoxy on around the edges of your balsa wood where it's exposed, because your control horn plate needs to sit on top and it needs to be glued in. So, and at the same time, I'm going to put quite a lot of epoxy all around the control horns, top and bottom. The more the better. Just basically lather it on. You can't kind of like go short with the epoxy at this stage. The epoxy cannot be short of. It's always better to have a lot of epoxy in place than supposed to not enough, because a lot of epoxy you can always wipe off the excess. But not putting enough on, you're going to cause a problem of the whole thing not sticking, not keying to the joint. You know when you've got enough because it just basically runs everywhere like treacle. Okay. And always have some kind of wipe ready to wipe all the glue off. Okay, that's pretty much quite a lot. Making sure I don't not put enough on. Okay, simply then you just sink this through. I'm using a kitchen towel to wipe off the excess, and basically stick that down. There's a lot of epoxy here, so just going to wipe off the excess. What you also need to do, once the excess is wiped off, as much as you can, is I'll show you a little bit more of a trick of the trade for you guys who doesn't have much building experience and you don't want to make a pig's ears of it. Okay, right. Push that down as hard as you can. Okay, then you start to peel off the masking tape. Stuff just sticks. Just using a small rod just to make sure the edge is sticking down. And then what I will do, is to use some nail varnish remover. Again, don't worry about putting too much on because it will not harm it if you use the mild sort of nail varnish remover, and that will remove any excess glue, remove any excess epoxy away from the base plate of the control horns. Again, push back down through it as tight as you can, and then turn the wing upside down so the glue runs back down to the control horn surfaces, and then you just got to find somewhere to place it for a short period of time. I'm just going to put mine on my cradle just here. and there we have it. In fact, better still, put it on the chair, across here. There you go. And the glue will run back down, as you can see. The control horns just here. The glue will run back down, and all I'm going to do is use a little bit of tape just to tape the edges here so the control surface don't sink. And then what I am going to do, bit more of the nail polish remover, just clean off the screwdriver, clean off the excess epoxy off the screwdriver, and that's pretty much it, guys. Straightforward job. All in all, it took 16 minutes. And just like to say thanks for watching. I hope this video helped, and I'm doing a stage build on this, so the next stage is probably the tailplane, but I will do the other wing, but you don't need to see it. The principle is the same. I will do the tailplane, the elevator, etc. And hopefully you guys will have some inside tips on building one of these Pilot RC kits. As I say, they don't come with instructions, so if sometimes it's a little bit hard to find things. But got any questions, email me, write in, and I will answer it. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, if you like what I do, thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to keep my channel going, guys. Appreciate your subscription, and you have a good one. Good night.